Hey, what is your agenda when you have your first meeting with a new buyer? This is Sales for Nice People. And when I step into a meeting with somebody new who might or might not want my work, I have only one agenda, and that is to figure out whether or not it makes sense for the both of us to have another meeting. Because most sales don't happen in one single meeting. If they do, you're probably selling something very affordable, which you probably shouldn't be in meetings for anyway. A button on your website should do the trick. Most projects where you're talking about consulting or coaching or implementation, real heavy technical projects, will require that you have several meetings with your buyers. That's normal, that's part of the sales process. That is how you get to identify the scope of the project and have a negotiation about price and implementation. All of that is good. But it is very frustrating and it is really annoying when you've had your third or your fourth meeting and you start talking about price and then the buyer goes, but we can't afford it. We don't have that kind of money. Or when they realize that actually for the kind of money that it would take to solve the problem, they would rather put up with the problem instead of pay up for getting rid of it. When that happens, you've now wasted your time and their time in 4 or 5 meetings and you're not going anywhere. To avoid that, to prevent that from happening, my agenda with the first meeting is, should we speak again? Does it make sense for us to have another meeting? And the qualifying question that I use is a number. In the first meeting, I like to give my buyer an idea of what they're looking at. So I set the stage, I tell them the purpose of this meeting is to figure out whether or not it makes sense for us to meet again after this one, because we're going to have a number of conversations. Does that sound fair? Buyer goes, yeah, sure, that sounds fair. I start asking questions, I start exploring the size and the shape of the problem, and by the time we're halfway through the meeting, I usually have a bit of an idea of what an engagement would look like. So then I will present a qualifying statement. And I'll say, based on what you've told me so far, this looks like it might be a $40,000 to $60,000 project. It starts with an audit, takes about 6 weeks, it's $15,000. And after the audit is ready, we'll take the report and build a roadmap for the further implementation. So a total of maybe 40 to 60,000 is probably what you're looking at. Is that going to be a problem? Now, the purpose of asking that is obviously to figure out, is it even going to make sense for these people to spend this much money on the solution? Now, when I ask that, there's a couple of things that can happen. The buyer can say, no, that is not a problem, let's keep talking. Good, now we have a sales process underway, let's schedule another meeting. Or my buyer might say, no, it's not a problem, but... Well, that is also great, because now they are surfacing a buy blocker, a reason why the money might be the obstacle, but which means we can negotiate, we can discuss, I can try and help them get around the buy blocker, maybe with a reduced scope, or maybe with different pricing terms, or maybe with a contingency earnout. Who knows, many different options that you can discuss once your buyer has said, no, the money is not a problem, but... Or it could be that the buyer says, yeah, that is a problem. We won't be able to spend that much money. Which is great, because now we both know that it doesn't make sense to have another meeting at this point, and we can both save ourselves the time. None of this is going to happen if you don't set a price bracket in your first meeting. And that is how you can very easily end up with a pipeline full of deals that look very interesting, but that aren't going to go anywhere because your buyer just doesn't have the money. So don't be afraid to scare off a buyer by stating a price bracket, because if the price is going to be the problem, the best moment to find out that it is the problem is right at the start. That is Sales for Nice People. Go to salesfornicepeople.com/sign up, and I will see you again tomorrow.